Alright guys, thought I'd just take a couple minutes here and just do a quick run through of the things that I typically run in my vest throughout the year. So we'll start with kind of the obvious ones. Normally up here, on a shoulder belt or down on a waist belt, I'll run the handheld for my 550. If we are in bear country, then I'll put a bear spray canister on one of the D-rings on my belt loop. Always have water bottles, so 2 of these on each side. If we are hunting in a spot where it is dry and we don't have the opportunity for water, I'll bring along these roll-up platypus bottles, pack away to nothing. You can fill up partway along your hunt and then go from there. And then if I need even more, I'll suspend a 3-liter Camelback bladder in the back of my my vest as well. So with 2 1-liter bottles and the 2-liter platypus and the 3 liters here, it gives me enough water for the majority of how long I would hunt a dog before going back to the truck to A, grab another dog, or B, get some more water. So that's water. The next kind of piece along with water is usually on the back. I'll either clip on one of these 2, not both. Either if I've got multiple dogs, a big collapsible dish, or just one of these just fold out dishes. I know lots of people will take the bottle and squirt it in the dog's mouth. The problem with where I hunt most of the time is water is a pretty finite resource, and the dog gets about maybe 20 or 30% of it in their mouth and actually can drink it compared to what they can lap up efficiently from a little dish like this. And whatever water they don't need, I can just pour this back into the bottle and they can drink it later. So that's pretty much water done. From there, obviously some of these pockets here, various hunting licenses from different states or provinces. Just put them in a bag here so they don't get bloody or covered in water or anything like that. From there, in the 2 pouches, carry hearing protection. These are some Peltor EP100, so these are electronic hearing. Usually I only wear these if I'm hunting with somebody else. If it's by myself, I don't really find the shotguns that noisy, although it is probably quite not great for my hearing. And then in one of the shell pouches, obviously ammunition, 28 gauge if you're any sort of self-respecting bird hunter. Just kidding. From there, I'll usually take a phone, and that'll be in one of those pockets as well. So I have that. And then on the other side, something that I've started carrying is I'll just carry a training pistol and some primers. Because if you limit out and you get all your birds for the day, I'm not going to just quit for the day. I'm just going to continue to go run my dog on birds, and we'll just use the blank pistol instead. That's how I get my dogs as much time in the field as I can, is I don't let the fact that I haven't gotten birds stop them. The other thing too is there's sometimes I don't need to go kill 2 pheasants every day for 5 days in a row. Like, I don't need that many pheasants or sharp-tails or huns, for instance. Or if I was in Montana hunting sage grouse, we took I think maybe 3 sage grouse, and the rest of the time I just hunted with this guy. So I think some people call it dry hunting or something along those lines, but this is something that I've really liked, and I keep practicing with the dogs. From there, move over to one of my side pouches here. This is just an accessory pouch. In that, I would typically run a Garmin InReach. This might become redundant if I ever replace my Garmin 550 handheld with like a 200i unit, but for now I always like having the SOS feature in some of the really remote places I go, and then it's got a GPS and a map function on it as well. Electronics aren't foolproof. Sometimes the best people in the world get turned around. I'm no example. And then I usually carry one of these, so something like a Mega Whistle and or a Fox 40, or one of my favorites here is this Roy Gonya Sport Dog whistle. Super loud, and the only reason I carry these are if I lose my handheld. If my handheld dies or something happens and I need to be able to get my dogs back, the whistle is my line of communication to get them back. Headlamp. One of the batteries, make sure you put it in backwards so you can't accidentally bump it on in your vest, so that you always have a full set of batteries. You never know if you're going to get stuck in the dark or you need to be doing something. Check a dog and after the legal light is done for an injury or something along those lines. Just something always good to. I will always carry that with me. And then the last is just a regular Leatherman Wave. These are kind of the do-all tools, knives, picks, files, you name it. Things on shotguns go wrong. Good for that. If I need to fix or tighten something on a dog collar or other gear is good for that. If I notice a fence needs fixing or mending or something along those lines, I can do that as well. This I will not use for snares. You cannot cut that snare wire with these cutters. I have different cutters for those. We'll go through those here next. So that's the side pocket there. In the back pocket, this long, carry just a wool stocking cap kind of beanie. You never know when it's going to get cold. Oftentimes, October onwards, I'll just wear this all the time. These are Trapper's cutters. So this is what you actually use for cutting snare wire if your dog's ever caught in a snare. Always keep those. And then kind of along that freak accident side of things, carry just a dowel, a porcupine dowel, call them, so you can actually put this like a bit, like a horse would wear, into the dog's mouth, loop this around the back of its head, and tie it off to the collar so you don't get accidentally bit when you use either the hemostats or the Leatherman, which is actually what I prefer, to pull quills out of a dog. You can see this one, it's kind of well used. So this has been used once, maybe twice, on 2 different dogs to get quills out. 2 dogs actually. So it doesn't weigh anything, really light hickory, but it's better than getting your hands accidentally bit when the dog's in duress. Over on the other side is where I carry a medical kit. Sometimes this medical kit is full size like shown, or other times I'll just put it in a smaller accessory pouch like this, just depending on how far away and how long I'm going to be away from the truck. So this one here, you can just unclip it and just pull it off, and that's pretty much everything in the vest there done. Before we get to the medical kit, one last thing that I put on, again, just for information, you never realize how hot it is. Sometimes you get caught up in the hunt, so I just put this little thermometer on here. I've got a mental cutoff of what I like to stop running my dogs in terms of temperature, and it just gives me a good check throughout the day, because they might not show signs of heat stroke or heat exhaustion, but I'd rather err on the side of caution. Medical, inside this medical kit here, a couple things. Like this one, just folds completely open. Chapstick for me, places we usually hunt birds, super dry. Liquid bandage, trying to get a little nick or something on a dog to heal up and just been fighting you with bandages. This stuff works really well. Vet wrap, adhesive wrap, tape, medical tape. It's waterproof, abrasion proof. You can use this for lots of stuff other than medical tape. Carry a small but extremely strong, extremely durable. This one is Kevlar woven slip lead with also a clasp on the end. This is used primarily for two reasons I carry it. One, it weighs nothing. It doesn't take up any space. But two, you can get a dog out of a conibear trap with one of these by weaving it through. You can put your foot and your toe through this end like a stirrup to push, and you can get that trap open with mechanical advantage. Or two, for whatever reason, let's say you just needed to take a dog out of the field on lead, on heel. Maybe there's something extremely unsafe that you found in the field, like a landmine, I don't know. Or, you know, I've had it where I've used this where I'm trying to navigate through like a field of porcupines. All of a sudden you come across an area and it's just full of porcupines. I don't want my dog to get the chance to get quilled. I just throw it on this and walk them out of the area so I don't run into any issues. Sometimes this will be in, sometimes it won't, depending on what we're running in, but I'll always carry a bottle of this type of saline solution. If I'm in a spot where there's lots of like grass seeds or things like that that can flake into the dog's eyes, either try to irrigate it out with my water bladder if I've got that, you know, as a first pass, or usually back at the truck, this really clean saline solution. From there, nail clippers. Dog happens to chip or break a nail, get it just cleaned up with this. It can cause them a lot of pain, a broken nail that's split or something like that, so at least you can take care of it with this. I don't carry a lot of medication with me in the field, but one that I do is just this Gas X. Just a tab, just in case the dog gets bloat or a twisted gut. This can probably buy you maybe about an hour, the vet said, in terms of getting that dog to the vet for an emergency procedure. All it's doing is just trying to limit the amount of gas that's getting built up on the backside of the blockage to get you time to a vet. Most of my medical kit is just exactly that. It's just to buy me time to get to a vet. I'm not a vet. I don't like to deal with, you know, emergencies in the field like sutures, like some people might be comfortable with. Instead, I'm just going to try to stabilize an animal, put him in my vest if I have to, which I can, and get to my truck and then get to the vet as fast as I can. Did that with 2 dogs this past fall, and that's the best scenario for me. Again, little medical kit here. I say this is for me and the dog. A couple important things that I keep in here. First, emergency blanket. Who knows if you have to spend the night out, or if you have a dog that accidentally goes hypothermic for whatever reason, maybe falls through the ice, you need to get it warmed up. Always good to have something like that. Or if you need to have a clean work area, if you're working on something, you know, medical on the dog, you double use that as well. I'm not going to open this all up, but this is just a basic medical kit here, an adventure medical kit, to deal with things like cuts, abrasions, burns, things like that you or a dog might deal with. That's pretty much it. All said and done, I try to keep things as Spartan and as minimal as possible. I think you can get super carried away with carrying everything you think you're going to need. The other half of my supplies stay at the truck. You know, spare batteries, spare chargers, prongs, those sorts of things For dog, I keep that in like a dog or a handler's bag. Gun parts, gun cleaning kits, all that sort of stuff. I don't think you need to carry that with you, in my opinion. But one other piece that I'll carry, it's sometimes I'll wear it, sometimes I'll pack it, really depends, but I'll always have some sort of shell or jacket with me. Several years ago, once I started doing more upland and less big game hunting, I could see the value of these very stretchy fabrics in soft shell materials. This is a First Light corrugate guide jacket. Really love this jacket. It moves and it breathes really well. If I'm worried about more inclement weather, I'll just take a really light packable Gore-Tex shell. This is just a 2-layer membrane because the 3 layers get really heavy, and I can just take this and shove it down the back behind these webbing loops to keep it away from birds or blood or things like that in the bag. That's basically what I run. Hopefully that's helpful, and if you have any other ideas of things you carry, just drop it down in the comments. All right, thanks.